the mantra for attracting love, it's clean. It's K, L, double E, and M. I would say the yogi is someone who practices esoteric spirituality in the Vedic spiritual side of things. A person who practices occult knowledge, not only asanas. Remember, I said that the Om is the primal mantra from which everything existed, basically. So when you chant the primal mantra, the primordial mantra, it returns you to your true self. They say that the true self resides here on your third eye center.
So did you know that you can use mantras to improve your life? Mantras have been used for thousands of years. The ancients have been using it because they understood its powerful benefits. So in today's episode, I have Maha Yogi to help us cover this interesting topic about mantras. Maha Yogi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. I'm honored to be here as a guest, and I like your work.
I'm very interested to chat to you about this fascinating topic. But Maha Yogi, tell us, how did you become Maha Yogi?
Okay, I became Maha Yogi, and then I went into chaos magic. What is chaos magic? Chaos magic is a practice of magic which incorporates every other spiritual system on the planet, basically. So I tried out many things from different systems, and then I started resonating with the Vedic system, which involves Sanskrit mantras. So that's how I became Maha Yogi in a nutshell.
So you're saying you found Vedic literature. It's very interesting because about 2 or 3 episodes ago, we actually covered Vedic literature, which is text from 6,000 years ago that explains how to live your life. I know yoga is part of the Vedic literature. Ayurveda is part of the Vedic literature, which is about how to look after your body, what to eat. And there's lots of other Vedas. And how you got into the mantra side of it.
I got into to the mantra side through tantra, not specifically the Vedas, but I do know that the Vedas do mention a little about tantra here and there. The most common of the Vedas, which are involving tantra text in it, are the Atharva Veda, which is the Veda where we speak about using mantras to defeat evil and all that stuff. But I got into mantras through the practice of Tantra.
Wow. And you're maybe not the thing that people think about when they hear a yogi. Like when I hear that someone is a yogi, obviously I'm thinking of someone from India wearing an orange robe and doing yoga. But you look very different. I mean, is this a challenge that you have that people are confused when they hear that you're a yogi?
The yogi element came from what? In every practice of the Vedic spirituality, what we are trying to do basically, we are trying to unite our true selves with our ego selves. So, in using this system of spirituality, that's the common goal. And I, having so many practices like the yoga asanas, like the mantra japa, and many other practices in the Vedic spirituality, I can finally say, or I can proudly say that I'm a yogi because I use all those systems basically. That's how the yogi element came into play. I would say the yogi is someone who practices esoteric spirituality in the Vedic spiritual side of things. A person who practices occult knowledge, not only asanas, practices severe austerities like worshipping deities, practices meditation and contemplation. hence, I like to say to people that yoga is not only restricted to one side, which is the physical aspect, which is the asanas, which are your postures. So that's why I call myself a yogi.
So tell us, which is your favorite mantra that you use on a regular basis? I think you started off saying that you started using mantras, or you mentioned mantras can be used to fight off evil, but I'm sure
Yes.
mantras can be used for many different things. So maybe give us one of your favorite ones, and let's talk through the different mantras that
Okay,
you have in your book.
my most favorite mantra is the Om mantra. Why do I like the Om mantra? The Om mantra is made up of three syllables, which is A, and then U, and then M. So when you pronounce it in your Sanskrit vowels, it becomes AUM. What does that stand for? What does it mean? The A stands for creation, and the U stands for preservation, and then the M resembles or symbolizes destruction. So in those three syllables, you have what? The process of creation, the process of preservation and operation, and the process of destruction. So that's why I like Om. It's the Pranava mantra, which means it's the mantra from which all things came into existence, basically. And then for my fighting evil mantras, I like using mantras like Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. Why do I choose Durga? Durga is a great protective energy, symbolized by the divine feminine, which has many weapons. Those many weapons symbolize that from all the Hindu gods or the Hindu deities, they gave her all her powers to actually give her the responsibility of being a divine protectress, a fortress, basically. So that's what I like incorporating in my spiritual practice.
I know Om because it's one of the most famous Sanskrit symbols, and we use it a lot in meditations, all the meditations that I've gone to, even yoga practices. Sometimes we start the practice by doing Om chants. Sometimes we end the practice by doing Om chants. So, what does actually saying this Om as a mantra, what does it actually bring into your life? What does it actually do?
Okay, firstly, remember I said that the Om is the primal mantra from which everything existed, basically. So when you chant the primal mantra, the primordial mantra, it returns you to your true self. Remember, we are living, and as we are living, we have seven spheres of energy or seven energy centers in our body. As we live throughout our past lives to our current lives, we accumulate certain baggages, we accumulate certain karmas that come with us that form this personality that we have right now. So to obliterate or to remove that false personality which keeps you from accessing your true self, we chant Om. Om returns you to that state of your true self, your true being, basically.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. So, when you do your mantras, maybe tell us the process. So, what happens? Do you just sit? Would you sit on a chair and just start saying Om?
When I chant mantras like Om, I can either do it in a form of a meditation. In a form of a meditation, I will do it to attain peace of mind, but in a form of a ritualized form, which involves giving offerings, which involves invocation of the mantra in different parts of your body. I would do it for material needs. When I do a ritualized form of it, it's more for seeking results in the material realm. But when I do it in the form of meditation, it's more for connecting with my true self. What do I do in the process of meditation? Basically, I sit down, I relax myself, and then I focus on the Brumadhya center, which is the third eye center. And then I close my eyes and then I utter Om internally. And then I do it up until 20 minutes. I can also do it for 30 minutes.
That's very interesting. So, I remember when we chatted a few weeks ago, you told me to start doing Oms in my meditation. I meditate every morning, or at least I do my best to meditate every morning. My meditations have normally been conscious connected breathing. So I breathe in for maybe 3 or 4 counts and breathe out for the same amount of time. And I have no gaps between the in breath and the out breath. So it's called conscious connected breathing. So there's a continuous flow of breath, and you have no stopping at the top and you have no stopping at the bottom. So you're continuously breathing. And what I used to do was I would say, I am here now. And that would be sort of my mantra that I would be saying, which would bring me into the present, bring me into the now, remove all the past thoughts, the future thoughts. The future thoughts and past thoughts always come into your head, but you must just remove them and you go back to my mantra, which is I am here now. You told me to try the Om one, and I tried it for a week. I must admit it was very difficult for me to say something like that internally. I found it easier to say I am here now internally, but when I was chanting Om internally, I found it quite challenging. And I found it easier to actually say it out loud. When I started saying the Om out loud, I found it a bit easier. So
Oh, is
those are
it?
just my comments. And I've did that for a week. I can definitely see the power of the Om. It's very powerful, but I've gone back to my mantra and my meditation. But tell me, when you do the Om, how's your breathing? What is your breath like?
Okay, when I do my Om, let me try and demonstrate it just now.
Yes.
I inhale like I do it like that, but internally. The advantage about doing this internally is that externally you run out of breath, and when you run out of breath, you lose your synchronicity like with your breath, as you've mentioned that you like connecting your mantras with your breath. So when you do it internally, you can say the Om even on the inhale, basically. You just continue the sound. You just follow that sound into its astral equivalent, basically. That's how it is. It's just that easy, that simple. That's how you breathe.
And maybe let's talk about your eyes. You say you keep your eyes closed and you focus here on the third eye. So you focus your attention on this spot here between your eyes, right? This is where your third eye chakra is.
Yes,
So
sir.
do you keep your eyes closed all the time and just keep focusing your attention there?
Yes, you keep your eyes closed all the time. You keep them closed all the time. Why? Because you want to focus on your true self. They say that the true self resides here on your third eye center. I mean your mind, your brain, before it sends out any command to your body. It starts first by making a decision here on the frontal lobe, and then it sends out the message from that point on. So this point in spirituality, we call it the psychic power center. So when you focus on the power center, it's similar to focusing on your soul, because the soul is what gives the commands to your physical body, to your physical existence, and how you live life. So it dictates life from uh, your soul, basically. So when you focus your attention here, it's like focusing on a physical aspect, or rather something that you can touch, something that is tangible, that can better symbolize your soul, your true self. So that's what you do when you focus on that point.
And do you play music in the background while you do the Om mantra meditation, or you just have silence in the background?
I prefer silence, but when I was starting out, I used to play music a lot. Just like you've mentioned that it's harder to focus on the sound when you are doing it internally. It's much more easier when you are saying it aloud. My mind at the time, I wasn't even able to concentrate on something which is internal. So I had to develop myself developing myself, I found mantras on YouTube, just like you can find on my channel. You can choose a mantra there and then you play it in the background. You focus on the mantra while you are quiet, while you playing it in the background. That's how it will help you. You will also get to master your pronunciation and how to utter the mantra. And once you do that, it's much, much easier to focus on the sound internally. It's much more pleasurable. It's fast in bestowing peace of mind and bliss. It's that effective, basically. In our mantra practices, we like saying that the internal chanting of a mantra is 1,000 times better than the utteration of a mantra. That's how effective it is.
Wow, I had no idea. That's really powerful. So to actually say it internally is much more powerful
Much, much more
than
powerful.
to say it out loud, even though saying out loud and listening to a mantra background is maybe essential for a beginner, right? Because in the beginning you need to understand what is the correct way of pronouncing the mantra, what is the correct rhythm of the mantra, get used to that so you get a bit more comfortable. And then also listening will help you in the beginning, but as you advance and become better and more comfortable with the meditation and the mantra, then you maybe do it yourself, put off the music, and you're saying it becomes more powerful as you do it internally. So tell us about the other mantras. I mean, we've spoken about Om. What are some other useful mantras that people can use?
Okay, I have a video on my channel where I speak more in depth about these mantras. We have many bija mantras. Bija means seed. So from the mantra Om, there's other I would like to say demi mantras or mantras that are slightly lower in rank than that of Om. Those mantras, we call them bija mantras. They are the seeds of creation. So just like everything in creation, there's certain levels of vibrations for certain frequency that you want to invoke in your life. So there's mantras for attracting love, there's mantras for energizing yourself, like having that sun solar energy. There's mantras for the moon, there's mantras for driving away an enemy, like in the form of bija mantras. There's mantras for attraction of money and wealth. There's mantras basically for everything that you can think of in the material world. Using those mantras, you would use them in a ritualized form and chanting them out loud to get physical manifestations of the mantra. So do you want me to talk about the different bija mantras and which ones to use for certain purposes?
I think that's very useful because let's discuss the ones that you mentioned. So you mentioned there's a mantra for attracting love, giving you energy.
Yes, okay. Let me start first by talking about the mantra for attracting love. Okay, the mantra for attracting love, it's clean. It's K L double E and M. But in the IAST version, the IAST version of it, it's written KLIM. Reason why we write it with double E, it's because for some people in the West, when they pronounce uh, something that has an I, they say it in the, like they would say climb, basically. But to sort of clear that pronunciation error, we put in two E's because their vowels in the West, when they speak their vowels, they say A, E, I, O, U. But here in the East, we say A, E, I, O, U. So when you pronounce clean, you would pronounce it clean, and then it's written KLEENM. That mantra is used for Akarashan. Akarashan is attraction, basically. You attract your mate, someone you love. You use that mantra to attract. How does this mantra work? This mantra, just like every other mantra, it changes your subtle inner being, infuses it with the energy of passion and love, basically. This mantra is so powerful to a point whereby it's almost impossible to use it for nefarious purposes. Because why? As you cast the mantra on someone, it also changes you, the one who's chanting it. So that's how it works. And then the mantra for energizing is whom. Whom is a masculine mantra, which is responsible for giving you energy, which is working on the chakras which are inside of you, which are responsible for giving you energy. Basically, it's a mantra for giving out that mass energy. When you chant that mantra, it basically opens up centers in your body where you are capable of receiving enhanced energy. And then we have the other one for the solar mantras, which is Hrim, Hrim or Hreem. Hrim. This mantra is the solar mantra. It's also the mantra for the goddess who owns the universe. It is said that the physical manifestation began from light, basically. When it began from light, when we assume, or what we assume, is that light is the sun. So the mantra Hrim is responsible for the entirety of creation because the sun nourishes and gives life to all creation, basically. So the Hrim mantra gives you that solar power. It also bestows the qualities of leadership. It enhances your aura to a point whereby people look up to you and they look up to you as a leader. That's how the solar mantra works. The one for attracting money is called Shrim. It's Shrim or Shreem. That one is a bija mantra of the goddess Lakshmi. Lakshmi means fortunate in Sanskrit. It means fortunate. It means wealth, basically. It comes also from the root Laksha, which is gold, basically. So Lakshmi is responsible for giving devotees wealth. How does this mantra work? It works on clearing. Remember when we began, I said that we accumulate certain debris that prevent us from accessing our true selves. It is also the same way with money and mantras. Certain debris or debt, spiritual debt that we accumulate from the external world. Suppose you are associating with people who have a bad perception on wealth, bad limiting beliefs on wealth. That mantra works to purify those aspects of you, works to clear that karma that you have, that negative karma with attracting money, and then it attracts money. How you would chant the mantra is Shrim, Shrim, or you can drag it Shrim, Shrim. So that mantra works in attracting wealth. It's also the mantra used for the moon, basically. The moon is very, very attractive. So that's where you get the attraction of prosperity from, because the moon is very, very attractive. It has that attraction power.
Maha Yogi, that was really, really insightful. We have come to the end of our show, and I'm sure there are so many other mantras that people will be interested about. So, guys, viewers of the show, I'm going to leave details to Maha Yogi's YouTube channel and his social media below the description of this video. You can get in touch with him. You can watch his videos. He's got a whole range of videos on mantras and other interesting topics. Maha Yogi, this was really, really interesting. I hope people will start using these mantras in their life and see how they can bring energy, bring love, bring money, and bring what you want into your life by using these very powerful vibrational words that have been taught to us from the ancients. Maha Yogi, we really appreciate your time and we look forward to collaborating again in the future.